Brazilian wandering spider. The Brazilian wandering spider, Phenutria, is the world's most venomous spider by toxicity. Unlike web builders, these hunters actively stalk prey across the forest floor, which is why they're called wandering spiders. When threatened, they don't run. They rear up on their hind legs and strike with fangs loaded with neurotoxins. The venom contains peptides that flood your nervous system with acetylcholine, essentially short-circuiting your neurotransmitters. In 2007, a man in Brazil was bitten while picking bananas. Within 30 minutes, he lost control of his legs, then his breathing. He survived only because paramedics arrived in time. The venom is so potent that just 0.006 mg per kilogram of body weight can be lethal, making it roughly 15 times more toxic than a rattlesnake. A Phenutria bite doesn't just hurt, it hijacks your nervous system. You'll experience immediate pain, muscle spasms, salivation, and difficulty breathing. Victims describe it as feeling like their body is being electrocuted from the inside. Black Widow. The Black Widow is the iconic venomous spider. Shiny black body, red hourglass marking on the abdomen. Found across North America, they're surprisingly common in garages and sheds. Unlike the wandering spider, black widows are ambush hunters. They build webs and wait. When prey hits the web, they inject venom containing alpha-latrotoxin, a neurotoxin that forces nerve endings to dump all their neurotransmitter reserves at once, leaving the nervous system depleted. Black widow venom is 15 times more potent than rattlesnake venom, yet deaths are rare in modern times because the spider injects very little venom, often a dry bite. But when it does inject, the effects are brutal. Severe muscle pain, cramping, and autonomic dysfunction that can last for days. A black widow bite feels like a pinprick at first, then escalates. Within an hour, you'll experience severe muscle pain, rigidity, and cramping, especially in the abdomen and legs. Victims often think they're having a heart attack or appendicitis. Sydney funnel web. The Sydney funnel web is Australia's most dangerous spider and arguably the most aggressive. It's dark, glossy, and builds funnel-shaped webs in sheltered spots. Males are far more venomous than females. The venom contains robust toxins, peptides that bind to ion channels in nerve cells, causing uncontrolled firing. This leads to a cascade of neurological chaos, tremors, muscle contractions, and eventually respiratory failure. Before the anti-venom was developed in 1981, funnel web bites had a mortality rate of about 10 to 15%. Now, with anti-venom, deaths are extremely rare, but only if treatment is immediate. One bite can contain enough venom to kill 100 adult humans. A funnel web bite causes immediate severe pain at the bite site, followed by profuse salivation, muscle twitching, and difficulty breathing. Symptoms escalate rapidly. Within hours, you could be in respiratory failure. This is a get-to-a-hospital-now scenario. Brown recluse. The brown recluse is the master of tissue destruction. Found across the southern and central United States, it's brown, small, and has a distinctive violin-shaped marking on its back. The venom contains sphingomyelinase D, an enzyme that literally dissolves cell membranes. This causes necrosis. The tissue around the bite dies, creating a spreading wound that can take months to heal. Brown recluse bites are famous for creating volcano lesions, a dark, sunken center surrounded by inflamed tissue. In severe cases, the necrosis spreads deep into muscle and bone, requiring surgical removal of dead tissue. The bite itself is painless. You might not even notice it. But over the next 72 hours, the area becomes red, swollen, and blistered. Then the tissue dies, creating an open wound. Systemic effects include fever, chills, and joint pain that can last for weeks. Redback spider. The Australian redback is essentially the Southern Hemisphere's answer to the black widow. Shiny black body with a distinctive red stripe on the abdomen. It's so common in Australia that it's become a cultural icon. Like the black widow, it uses alpha-latrotoxin to overwhelm the nervous system, but redback venom is slightly different in composition, making the effects somewhat more variable. Redbacks are notorious for biting people in outhouses and toilet seats. They hide in dark, warm spaces. In the 1950s, before anti-venom, redback bites killed more Australians than snakes. Now, with anti-venom, fatalities are rare. Pain at the bite site escalates to severe muscle pain, cramping, and sweating. Unlike the black widow, redback bites often cause more localized pain at the bite site itself, though systemic effects still occur. Six-eyed sand spider. The six-eyed sand spider is a cryptid of the arachnid world, rarely seen, poorly understood, and found in the deserts of southern Africa and South America. It's small, tan, and perfectly camouflaged. The venom is a cocktail of neurotoxins and cytotoxins. It causes massive tissue damage and neurological effects, but because bites are so rare, much about the venom's mechanism remains mysterious. There's only one confirmed human death from a six-eyed sand spider bite, a child in South Africa in 1981. The venom is so potent that researchers have struggled to even study it safely. Some scientists believe it may be more dangerous than the funnel web, but we simply don't have enough data. Reported symptoms include severe pain, tissue necrosis, and neurological effects. But honestly, we don't fully know what a six-eyed sand spider bite does because it happens so rarely. That uncertainty is part of what makes it terrifying. Mouse spider. The mouse spider is another Australian native named for its large fangs and dark coloring. It's often confused with the funnel web, but it's actually less dangerous, though still a serious threat. The venom contains neurotoxins similar to those in funnel web venom, but in lower concentrations. It still causes neurological dysfunction, but the effects are generally less severe and slower to develop. Mouse spiders are surprisingly docile for such a venomous spider. They rarely bite unless severely provoked. Most bites occur when people handle them without realizing what they are. A mouse spider bite causes pain, muscle twitching, and neurological symptoms, but they develop more slowly than funnel web effects. You have more time to seek treatment, which significantly improves outcomes. Hobo spider. The hobo spider is the maybe dangerous spider. Found in the Pacific Northwest, it's a funnel weaver that's been blamed for countless bites and necrotic wounds. But here's the twist. Scientists now believe it's far less dangerous than once thought. The venom contains neurotoxins, but the concentration is low. Early research suggested it caused necrotic lesions similar to brown recluse bites, but recent studies indicate those lesions were likely caused by secondary infections, not the venom itself. The hobo spider became infamous in the 1980s and 90s when it was blamed for necrotic wounds across the Pacific Northwest. Panic spread. But in 2018, a major review concluded there was insufficient evidence that hobo spiders caused necrotic lesions at all. The spider's reputation was built on fear, not science. A hobo spider bite causes mild to moderate pain and localized swelling. Systemic effects are rare. It's a reminder that not every spider bite is a medical emergency. Sometimes it's just a bite.